Just when you thought the world could not get any worse, it does. It gets a lot worse. A group of police officers kill an unarmed man, unarmed, not physically aggressive, in handcuffs on the ground, slowly and deliberately and intentionally over 8 minutes. So let's try to make some sense out of the astrological configurations that are going on right now. As you probably know, if you follow my other videos, we're in a unresolved cycle of a monumentally rare eclipse. You can look for the other recent video where I analyzed that eclipse from December 26th. We have this incident in the context of that eclipse, which featured a debilitated Jupiter in the heart of the eclipse. What did I think about that debilitated Jupiter many months ago as I was trying to look at 2020? I thought stuff is gonna happen in 2020 where people are gonna lose faith in their leaders. So that's the context of what's going on. It's just a lack of ability for Jupiter to function well. Jupiter is the people that you can trust. Jupiter is the people who protect you and guide you and are good to you and who rear you, the parental figures. It's 2020 is nothing but a breakdown of people's ability to trust anyone. Some people are losing faith intelligently. Some people are losing faith like chickens without heads. But everybody is losing faith in everything. In all of these role models. Because look at how awfully bad they're performing. So that eclipse is really the root of what's going on now. The next root is this snapshot, which is March 29th. And the reason why I point this out is because it's got this configuration of Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars very close together. Very similar to the configuration of planets in 1345 before the Black Plague. And something you will notice about this is that Venus is highly influenced by that triple configuration, the triple cluster, because of being exactly trine to it. So that indicates that it's going to affect prosperity, wealth, just peace and love. Now, as we come closer to the event, we find that Mars stays in trine with Venus up until around May 10th, at which time it then moves its trine to Rahu. So Mars is highly active through this whole period, kind of chasing Venus, not letting it escape. Then I'd like to take you forward to the very recent history, like May 20th. May 20th, you see the sun is about to cross into Gemini. But now look what happens as we go to May 21st. Mars gets a square. Now, as you know, if you are aware of Vedic astrology, the square from Mars, the 90-degree square from Mars, is more potent than its trine. The trine of Mars can maximize at 75% intensity, according to Parashar's Vedic astrology. But the square from Mars can maximize to 100% intensity. And so that's what forms now. On May 21st, Mars hits the sun in Gemini. At the same time, Jupiter is now retrogressing in Capricorn, and Saturn is retrogressing back towards it. And they're both trining the sun. So again, that same trio of Saturn, Jupiter, Mars affecting a single point. And if you watch how the transit unfolds, you see Mars locks onto the sun just like it did with Venus and keeps its aspect on the sun for a very long time. So that when the protests really broke out, we did have the moon move into a trigger position. And here again on May 30th, the moon is still doing its little triggering thing with lighting little tiny fuses as it forms this triangle here. And actually, more important than the moon, you can see that at this point, around the 30th of May, Mars has now got his eyes on two guys. He's got his square on Venus now, and on the Sun as well, as Venus has moved retrograde towards Mars. This stays in effect till about June 6th. So I think that you're going to see this kind of intensity not decrease. The kind of intensity in the protests and the madness is not going to decrease until the 6th, until after the 6th. And now Jupiter is doing this sextile aspect with Mars, which is not very strong in Vedic astrology, but guess what? Saturn is real close. So this means that Mars is moving into a sextile with Saturn mid-June. And I'll also just, since I'm scrolling through transits, I'll just put up this date too. It looks like just July 26th is the end of Mars getting a lot of influence over these planets, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Rahu. So what I expect is that the repercussions of the horrific violence will begin to be redressed or addressed in mid-June, but it won't be till the end of July until the anger is dispersed to a large extent, and you don't really see it front and center in the media exchanges. I also just want to take a minute or two to give you a little social commentary. If you don't give a damn about my social commentary, you could just shut off the video here. How strange is it that when there was a virus that threatened the lives of the citizens, all the rulers were saying, we need to stay open. We need to stay open. But as soon as there is an incident which threatens the security of the police and the government and the leaders, shit gets shut down. The National Guard comes in, the curfews come out. You don't want to shut us down when our life is at risk. But when we're angry at you, you shut us down. And another thing I want to say is, and from an astrological perspective, all of these problems are rooted to the fact that Jupiter was eclipsed in debilitation, which means that leaders are not acting wisely. That's what's causing all these problems, whether it's coronavirus or this. It would just be so simple for you leaders to shut down these riots if you actually gave a damn. You wouldn't have to call in the National Guard and shoot rubber bullets and all that. All you need to do is punish these people who killed this man very, very harshly, showing that you agree that what they did was horrific. Then nobody is going to be mad at you anymore because it's a mistake. People cry when mistakes happen. They don't go out and start burning buildings when mistakes happen. They go out and start burning buildings about injustice, when they want revolution, when the leadership fails them. So that's my social commentary. I don't doubt that it makes any difference, but it makes me feel better to share my thoughts with you. Thank you.